Yes.
Hi, I'm pretty interested at the moment in decentralizing issues surrounding identity and removing contrived binaries and definitions around those issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how, from a curator's perspective, do you go about exhibiting works of queer art in a way that doesn't reduce them to just being reduce the works of the artist to just being queer, while still promoting and embracing their queerness in a way that is explicit enough to affect positive social change?
Well, it is a convoluted question. I have to. Well, so you are asking how to make queer exhibitions socially impactful? This is the question?
How to make them socially impactful while still not reducing works to just being, say, this is just a man or a woman. You're talking about lesbians, you're talking about how things...
I don't care about reducing.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm very honest about this. I don't care. As a curator, I am making my own subjective selection. I don't have this kind of idea that as a curator, even like a professional curator or an art historian, you have to be scientifically accurate or you have to be objective or something like this. You are an individual person with your individual sensibility, individual sense of eroticism and your individual knowledge, and you are making a subjective collection and selection of art pieces for an exhibition. And you basically show what you like to show. Or you think that you show because you've read about something and you are illustrating something, or you are following some ideology, I mean progressive ideology in theory, but the reality is that you show what you like to show, what you like in the art that you discover, that you search through as a curator. So you picked up what you picked because you liked it. And the general attitude of the show was to promote queer images, queer visuals, queer culture, and it worked on this point of view because it got an enormous social attention in the National Museum and almost press coverage and a very good audience. So it was a very interesting example of art for social change on this basic level. It was effective in terms of the communicating not heteronormativity, communicating not heteronormativity in general in a very heteronormative country, extremely heteronormative country. And then, of course, you have the individual artworks that you can discuss. And then the reception of the artworks is always in the mind of the viewer. You can't really control it. For example, we are looking at image like this one. This is Kees van Dongen, who is a fauvist, a dark strand fauvist artist that specializes in painting masquerades and nightlife and having great time in clubs. And this is a portrait of a Polish, very famous Polish hairdresser, the first celebrity hairdresser ever, Antoine de Paris. His Polish name is Antoni Cierplikowski, who was born in Poland, who emigrated to America and then to Paris, who established a very famous salon for stars, Coco Chanel, Greta Garbo, and many celebrities in the first century, in the first half of the 20th century. And then in the 70s, under communism, he returned to die in Poland. He didn't stay in Paris or in New York, but he returned to his small village in Poland to die there in the late 70s. So this is his portrait, dressed in an Eastern dress. And what do you do with a portrait like this? I don't really know about Antoine Cierplikowski, if he was transgender or not. But what we know is that created a transgender cut for women, this kind of short haircut, Louis Brooks kind of haircut, and Mary Quant, but much later. Is there a term in English for this kind of short black haircut? This kind of twiggy haircut. This is what he invented in Paris at the time, which is kind of masculinizing women, right? And crossing gender boundaries. So there is a lot of knowledge around individual art piece and a lot of intuition and a lot of emotions that they evoke. And you can't control it. And you cannot put any one definition of queerness on artworks or on exhibitions. Just be free about it.
Am I not right in thinking that the dreadful air crash happened towards the end of your show, and that all the commemorative events happened right in front of the National Museum in Warsaw, and this had a big impact?
Well,
or am I wrong?
I didn't want to talk about it.
But it was very important.
Because it didn't have any impact on the exhibition. In 2010, in early spring, the whole Polish government died on a crash to Smolensk, on a plane to Smolensk. It was a very unusual political event, something that only probably Poles could do, to put the entire government on one plane, and then the plane crashes on the way to Smolensk to commemorate historical place of the martyrdom of Polish soldiers. So it was a very powerful and dramatic political moment that started in Poland in 2010 as well. And there are some voices. There were some voices that everything should be changed in Poland, all exhibitions, and to have this kind of 1 year of mourning or something like this. And there were some voices that we should stop the exhibition as well because of it. But Piotr Piotrowski would never do it. So of course it was up to him, and the Minister of Culture gave him the power to decide what is going to be in the museum. So that is why, even though this terrible crash in 2010 has had an enormous impact on Polish politics, because it created the contemporary fundamentalist state basically that we have right now, at the time somehow it didn't impact the exhibition. Yeah.
Can you say how long Piotr was director of the museum?
Well, only for a year. He resigned after the exhibition. And of course I knew that it would be the case. When he got this position in 2009, and he invited me to curate the show, I knew that he's going to be sacked. Because, you know, I know the reality of Warsaw and the bourgeois institutions like the National Museum and the whole atmosphere and the homophobia there. So I knew that he's not going to be a director for a very long time, and I knew that I have to work fast. Because a lot of people criticized me for this exhibition, that I didn't bring, for example, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci or something like this to Poland to show as part of the exhibition, or Francis Bacon. But I knew that for this kind of loans, you have to have a lot of money, and you have to have a lot of time. You apply for this kind of loans 2 or 3 or 4 years in advance. And I knew that I have only a year or less to do this show. And because of the shortcomings related to the exhibition, I knew that I have to work locally, and this is how the idea to queer the collection, which is already there, came to my mind. But under a very heavy pressure, due not only to the exhibition, but also some other organizational conflicts with the staff of the museum, because the idea of the critical museum in the National Museum was very radical. It sounds perfect for the modern art museum or contemporary art museum, but not necessary for the National Museum. There was a lot of conflicts and debates around this concept of a critical museum, and many of the staff of the people who work there and the board of the museum disagree with the concept. And that is why finally, under pressure, after 1 year, he resigned. But it was good for him to resign, you know, because the National Museum in Poland and many national museums are like nightmares to work in, because they are so oppressive. And he was an international academic, so he went to Los Angeles afterward and to other places to work and to teach. So it was good for him to be free of the National Museum, and it was good for me to be a freelance curator, because the repression that exists in the institution didn't affect me. As a freelancer, you just get in, get out, get in, get out, you have more freedom. And many of you are going to work as freelance curators, and sometimes it is not good from the financial point of view, but on the other hand, if you work on a project and you are not imprisoned in the institution, it gives you more freedom. Yes?
I just want to tell you loudly that I'm under a great impression of your concepts on your, about your reflection on contemporary art. And maybe I'm here rather ignorant because I'm not art historian, but I really, now I can imagine how it can look like queer museum or exhibition, which I missed a few days ago in Tate Britain.
Yeah.
And only one short question: how would you replace the word of queer? You mentioned something. I like it in the science.
Well, I call it ars homoerotica, not queer art exhibition. Well,
It's a very good one.
We have to use the, yes, but it doesn't really cover transgender or homoeroticism is quite often connected with masculinity, even though there's a female homoeroticism as well, and I try as much as possible to work on female homoeroticism in the exhibition as well. So I wouldn't worry about replacing, but I will go for some obvious names, like using queer, gay, or lesbian, or transgender, because it has more political impact. Of course, you can use like power of desire, or power of sexuality and body, or something like this, but I don't like it. I just, especially when it is still politically divisive issue, I would go with a punch and call it what it is.
Could I just say, apropos of terminology, that presumably it wasn't in a national museum, but one of the ones you didn't mention very early was Jean-Christophe Amman's very important show in Bern, Transformer.
In the 70s, in 1974.
Yes, in the 70s. Yeah, 74. So
yeah.
all I'm saying is that I didn't even know, because I wasn't with it enough, that Transformer was the name of this song by Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Then taken up by Lyotard with Duchamp's Transformers, but the idea of Transformer, which must have been a title long discussed, and it was the first, it was a really, really gay exhibition. It also involved people like David Bowie and singers. I just think the title Transformer, which had got a kind of mechanical, electric or whatever, and gender idea, was a very clever idea, and a very active idea as a term.
Well, as I mentioned, there is a very rich history of queer exhibitions since the 70s up until today, but mainly in contemporary galleries, modern museums, private galleries, and Transformer was an exhibition in a private gallery, but you are right, it was very pioneering exhibition in terms of dealing with a transgender issues or non-binary representations, and this is of course historically important show. I don't know if you have time, probably not, but I would like to finish. If you have to go, just go. This is a lunch break. But for those of you who stay, I would like to say a couple of words about a Russian exhibition, because this is really unusual.